Alright, today I want to just do a quick video about something you've not seen before. I've been rebuilding my Shapeoko 2 CNC in the shed. I bought this six or 7 years ago. I think 6 maybe. And then we moved, and then it sat in the moving boxes for a couple years until I finally figured out that I could make room here in this tiny little shed. This shed is basically just 6 foot by 12 foot probably, so it's like 3 meters by 6 meters or something like that. It's really small. But I figured that I have enough room, so I first made a frame just out of some 2x4s, and you can tell from the screw holes there's like cross beams going, like a grid to hold up the boards. And it just rests, it just floats, it's not attached to anything. It just rests on the blocking on the walls of the shed. But when I bought it and when I put it together a couple years ago, or was trying to put it together, I was so close. I put it all together, and then by the time that it was pretty much working, then we moved, so I never got to use it much. It's such a waste, but it was cheap and it was cool. It was an awesome project. Sometimes I just like the project even more than the end result. So yeah, I uploaded a few 3D printing videos over the Christmas break. One of them was the bracket. This is gonna hold this router on the Shapeoko. I already put the this is just an extra set. I already screwed this part on here, so I made a big bolt holes here and made sure that there's enough room so that the bolt heads don't conflict with the router itself. And it's really simple. Like I said, I use SketchUp. So what you do is you just measure whatever you're doing. You measure, in this case, the router, and then you just draw a circle, and you draw another circle, and you figure out how big should it be. So I went with 1/2 inch. Thought it was good enough. And then yeah, you have to make sure you have some room for bolts to attach, like here. And then you have to make sure to squeeze them together somehow. So I just cut out, in the drawing, I cut out a little bit like this, and then 2 bolt holes. So you just put a bolt through that, and then it will clamp it. And I already tried it a little bit ago, and it seems to be holding pretty well. It doesn't sag too much. It's definitely not strong enough to cut aluminum or aluminium, as everybody else in the world says, except for the United States. So, but good enough to get started, and then later I can figure out a way to make these stronger. Or yeah, I've looked for, you can buy ones, but often, because this is such a niche, people are selling this stuff for 60 or 80 bucks or something, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna first try to do it myself, and if this is complete crap, then maybe I'll buy something later, or no, the first thing that will happen is I will try to make it better and then maybe connect these to each other. If there's any flex, I'll just try to connect these in a better design or something like that. Yeah, so that's going on here, and then we'll just squeeze together. And I have two of them, so hopefully that will work. At least good enough to cut some MDF or plywood. I made another 3D printing video, and that is for a dust shoe for the same router, for the DeWalt that everybody likes to use for Shapeoko. And again, it's super simple. Once you have a 3D printer, yeah, the whole world opens up. So I just measured the router, draw a circle, measured the hose for my shop fag, and just drew another circle. Then I wanted to have room to what do you call those things? Those bristles, right? That they come on an aluminum strip, and then they have those hairs, and you can just put it in there. Maybe a little bit of glue or something. Just put it in here, and again, leave a little bit out so you can clamp, and then it will just clamp on the, well, oh, it doesn't want to move right now because this bolt is in here. But yeah, you can just clamp it together so it stays on the router. It's already pretty tight by itself, so it doesn't need a lot. So yeah, that's basically my idea of a first version of a dust shoe. Just keep it simple. You can always make it complicated. That's usually what happens. I start with the simplest, and then I think, oh, I can make it better, and then I make it super complicated, and then the super complicated doesn't work. And then I go back to simple, but maybe a little bit better than the initial design. Yeah, what else? So that's those two things that you may have already seen when I printed them. Oh yeah, I also needed, I wanted, don't need it, I wanted an electronics box for the Shapeoko. Here's the little Arduino board, and with the stepper motor drivers. It's going in here. You might say, doesn't need that much. No, it doesn't, but this is the size that the plates came in, and this worked. And otherwise it just becomes a tiny box and becomes a nightmare to attach all the cables. And what I also wanted to do, because now how I had it before, I just had that board just hanging around, and then oh, camera. And then you have to attach the cables, etc., and you have to have some screw terminals and stuff like that. It's just messy and ugly and exposed. So I went on eBay years ago. So this is from when I initially got the whole kit and put it together years ago. And then I already had plans to do this. So before I put this back together, so I got some buttons, colored buttons, and they even light up if I figure out how to hook them up to 12 volt. I think they're 12 volt. So you got a green one for start, and you got a red one for stop, and they hold. You see? Because otherwise it doesn't work if these would just bounce back. So they hold, and then a blue one for pause. So that's one thing that I wanted. I wanted a nice box to put that stuff in. And then also I want to use these XLR connectors. They're mostly used in professional audio and that kind of stuff. Oh, I'm screwing it on, probably. Yeah. So there are these, I don't even know what they're called anymore, DIN something. But they have plenty of pins. I can solder my wires to here, and you know, you have your limit switches and your stepper motor wires, and come on, focus. Focus. Yes. So you have your I have a lot of wires to connect, so I need a lot of pins. So, and I've got a bunch of these. These are all going on this box. You see, I got this whole bag. I got ones with, I think I got different ones. Oh yeah, I got ones with 4 contacts, like this one. That's for the stepper motors of 4 wires. So I want to use those for XYZ. I have double wire, dude. Yeah. So I need 4 of those. And then I have a bunch more with for the limit switches. So then you have 3 wires, I think. And then you can get 2 limit switches on one. Well, I have to figure this out again because it's been years. Yeah, of course you need an extension cable for the USB that is connecting to the board. What else do you need? Oh, also nice to have. When everything is just going to break, or the machine is going to break itself, you have an e-stop. So that's also going on here. So so these buttons for start, stop, pause are going on the front. E-stop, of course, also going on the front. All the connectors on the back. Yeah, what else? Oh yeah, I also 3D printed these little corners. It's super simple. It's just a square with rounded corners and a hole all the way through, so I can screw in the top and the bottom, and then a little slot for the sides to slide into. So yeah, that was the quickest and dirtiest and easiest that I could come up with. What I also noticed when I first built this is that, well, first of all, this thing was supposed to be, I think it was like a 30 by 30 centimeter cutting area or something, like 12 inch by 12 inch or more. So the machine was like 60 by 60, something like that. But I wanted it way bigger. I want to, because I'm usually just working with wood, I want to be able to cut full standard plates, like 2 foot by 4 foot. So I overextended all the dimensions, and so I made it 3 foot this way, and I made it 5 foot this way, so that yeah, I can just cut a full plate. Of course, that's a little much for this design, and especially in the original has like a Dremel as the cutter, or knockoff Dremel, and this is way heavier, so this is going to cause a lot of issues with flex in these rails. So I already, at the time, started thinking about how to fix that, and the way to do that is to bolt these 2 sides together, just through. So I have a whole bunch of these hex bolts, all different sizes and T-nuts and everything, so I can screw those together. And then additionally, I want to put this aluminum profile in between. So it's gonna have 2 pieces. So currently you have them right like this, those maker rails, They're 2040, so 20 millimeters wide, 40 tall. Those are the ones that people used at the time, and they're a lot cheaper than the ones that people use now. Because now everything is like double and triple, and but yeah, then you make a $500 machine, $1,000 machine, as you can see on the Shapeoko. So what I want to do, I want to go through and put a T-nut there, so I can squeeze this together, and then also from the other side go through, put a T-nut there so I can squeeze them together. And I also want to sandwich in, can you see it better like this? Yeah. I also want to sandwich in this T-profile to make it even stronger. So the bolting together of these two is to prevent the twist, because there is a lot of twist right now, especially if you put like that heavy router on there. But there's also some sag. So if I sandwich this in with these two, then I will prevent the sag that is happening over that long stretch, over those 5 foot. What else? Let's put this away. Oh yeah, I also wanted to, since I was thinking about how to reduce the sag, I also wanted to put these steel plates and bolt them on to these profiles. So I'm going to put 2 holes every whatever inches this is. I've just spaced out 5 holes, 10 in total, and going through T-nut, and then stiffen this up a little bit, and it will also help keep dust and debris out of what is that? I have to think about everything. I've not used these words in years. Well, out of the motor and the rollers, whatever it's called. Yeah, I think that's the plan for now, pretty much. So, thanks for watching, and I'll give you an update once I make some progress. It will take a while. It's pretty cold and rainy, and don't really feel like being out in this in this shed. Okay, thanks.